Mira, take us back to that moment. What did you see when you walked through that door?
She was wearing my clothes. That's the first thing I noticed. Not her face, not the smell of my own perfume hanging in the air, just that red dress, the one I wore on our anniversary, the one he said made me look like a dream. And there she was, wearing it like she owned it. I froze, Blaze, my hand still on the door, my keys slipped, hit the floor. The sound made her turn, and she smiled at me. She smiled, like she was the wife, like I was the intruder.
You knew her?
Oh, I knew her. Sophie, my husband's colleague. We'd had dinner together, laughed together. She'd held my baby pictures in her hands and said how lucky I was to have a man like Mark. And that man was now standing behind her, holding 2 mugs of coffee like this was their Sunday morning. I couldn't speak. I just stared. Mark looked like a child caught stealing something fragile. He said, "Mira, you're home early." Home early. In my house? With her standing in my kitchen?
What did you feel in that moment?
Nothing. That's the worst part. I didn't feel anything. No rage, no tears, just static, like every emotion shut off at once. It's strange, Blaze. You imagine if you ever get betrayed, you'll scream or collapse. But when it happens, it's quiet. Pain that's too big for sound. So I just looked at her and said, "Nice dress." And she smiled again, nervous this time, but still trying to hold on to that little victory. Mark tried to say something, some pathetic excuse, but I wasn't listening. My heart was somewhere else, packing itself to leave.
Did you confront them?
No, you can't argue with betrayal, Blaze. It's already happened. So I walked past them into my bedroom, our bedroom. The sheets were fresh, too fresh. His cologne was stronger than usual, covering something up. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked around at the life I built, the framed photos, the little love notes we used to leave each other. All of it felt like a set from a play that had already closed. He followed me in, trying to explain. "Mira, please, it's not what you think." And I said, "Then tell me, Mark, what do I think?" He had no answer. His silence was the confession. I didn't cry. Not that night. I waited until he fell asleep on the couch, the same couch where she had probably been sitting hours earlier. And then I packed a small bag, just enough to disappear. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter, right beside the coffee mug he'd made for her. And before I walked out, I whispered, "Keep her. You'll need someone to blame when this all falls apart."
You left without looking back?
I didn't even close the door all the way. I wanted the wind to blow through, to take whatever was left of me with it. I went to stay with my friend Jenna. She didn't ask questions, she just held me. For 2 days, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I just replayed it in my head. That red dress, that smile, his eyes full of guilt and cowardice. Then something shifted. Somewhere between crying and silence, I stopped being the victim. I told myself, no one walks into my life and steals my peace without paying for it. Not him, not her. So I started watching, quietly. I knew all his passwords, his emails, his accounts. He never thought I'd use them. While he was busy pretending I'd vanished, I was learning exactly what kind of man he really was.
You were planning something.
Oh, I was. But not out of hate, out of justice. See, I realized something. You can't make someone regret losing you by begging them to stay. You make them regret it by showing them who they really are. So I waited. I stayed silent for 10 days, and in that silence, I built my plan.
You said you built your plan in silence. What kind of plan was that, Mira?
The kind that doesn't use noise, Blaze. The kind that uses patience. See, when you scream, they know you're hurt. But when you're quiet, they start to fear what's coming. I started simple. I knew Mark's routines, his work, his accounts, his little secrets. He was careless with everything, including me. So I logged into our shared account first. He'd moved money to another name. Hers. Sophie Turner. A joint account created 3 months before that day. I stared at the screen, not even angry, just cold. I transferred half of everything back, my legal half. Then I started looking deeper. Emails, messages, documents. Every digital fingerprint he thought he'd wiped, I found it. He was embezzling money from his own company. A side project he told me was freelance consulting. He was stealing from his partners. That's when I realized this wasn't just betrayal of love. It was betrayal of everything.
Did you tell anyone?
Not yet. You don't warn a storm before it hits. I needed evidence, not revenge, not yet. So I started collecting screenshots, records, even voice notes from his calls when he thought I wasn't listening. He was planning to leave me officially once a deal came through. He wanted to start over with her. That phrase, start over, it's funny, isn't it, Blaze? Men love to start over after they burn a woman's life down.
You didn't confront them again?
No, I wanted him to think I was broken. He called twice, left messages saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to happen this way." I didn't reply. Silence is the most painful mirror. Then, 2 weeks later, I went home. He wasn't there, but she was. Sophie was in the garden, watering my plants. She waved, as if we were friends. She said, "I'm glad you're back. Mark said you needed time to heal." Heal, like he'd done me a favor by breaking me. I smiled. I told her, "You're right. I'm healing just fine." And I meant it. Inside, I took every photo of us off the walls, every trace of me gone. But before I left again, I left something behind. A small USB drive in his desk drawer, labeled "For You." It wasn't a love letter. It was every piece of evidence of his fraud, his messages, his lies. A mirror of everything he was too proud to see.
You wanted him to find it himself.
Exactly. Guilt is more powerful when it's delivered by your own hands.
He found it 2 days later. I know because he called me 30 times in one night. Then came the texts. "We need to talk. We can fix this. Please don't do this." Do what, Blaze? Tell the truth? He built that truth himself. I never replied, but I knew the storm had started. A week later, his business partner called me. They'd received an anonymous email with all the evidence attached. His company froze all his accounts pending investigation. Mark was finished before he even realized I'd started. And Sophie?
Gone. She disappeared the moment the money stopped flowing. That's what I mean when I say karma doesn't rush. It walks slowly, wearing heels. And she tripped on every step. I heard from someone later that she left town, probably chasing another man with a new bank account, but by then I didn't care.
I'd moved out permanently, filed for divorce, and while he drowned in lawyers and debts, I was sitting in a small apartment across town, drinking my first peaceful cup of coffee in months.
You sound calm telling this, Mira. Wasn't there still anger left?
Anger fades, power stays. See, the thing about betrayal is that it teaches you how strong silence can be. You think you're breaking, but you're actually forming edges, sharper ones. By the time he realized what I'd done, I wasn't his wife anymore. I was his consequence.
That's cold.
No, Blaze, that's clarity. He mistook my kindness for weakness, my silence for surrender. But I wasn't silent because I was weak. I was silent because I was calculating. I never raised my voice. I never cursed his name. I just let him destroy himself. And when the dust settled, he was the one standing in the ruins. He came to see me once after everything fell apart. He looked smaller, not physically, but empty. He said, "I lost everything." I said, "No, Mark, you traded it." He didn't understand at first, so I told him, "You traded loyalty for lust, a home for a house, and a woman who loved you for one who never did." He left without a word, and that was the last time I saw him.
That's cold.
And you, did you ever forgive him?
Forgive? Maybe one day. But not for him, for me. Because forgiveness isn't about saying it's okay. It's about saying you no longer control me. And that's the only revenge that truly lasts. It's strange, Mira. You sound peaceful now, like the storm is over.
It is. But peace doesn't come easy, Blaze. It comes after you walk through every kind of pain. When I first left that house, I thought I'd lost everything. Now I realize I was just making space for something better. For a long time, I hated silence. Now I crave it. Because silence means I'm not fighting anymore. I used to wake up at 3 a.m. hearing their laughter in my head. Now I wake up to birds outside my window. A small sound, but it reminds me that life moves on, even when you think yours has stopped.
Do you ever miss him?
No, I miss who I thought he was. That's the part no one tells you about betrayal. You don't just lose the person. You lose the version of yourself who believed in them. I had to bury her, Blaze. The woman who believed love meant loyalty and that promises were sacred. She's gone now. But the woman who replaced her, she doesn't cry anymore.
You said you left him a note once. What did it say?
Yeah, the morning I left for good, I made breakfast for both of them. Eggs, toast, orange juice, the same breakfast I used to make when we were happy. They thought it was an olive branch, but I was just saying goodbye my way. When they went upstairs, I placed a note on the counter. It said, "You can keep the house, but remember, it's built on lies."
That's powerful.
It wasn't meant to be. It was the truth. Everything he had built was a performance, a life scripted by convenience and cowardice. But mine became real the moment I walked away. I started therapy, began painting again, things I'd stopped doing because I was too busy holding him together. Now I hold myself. And that, Blaze, is the real revenge.
You said he lost everything. What happened to him after the company collapsed?
He tried to rebuild, but the world doesn't forget easily. The scandal hit the local papers. Financial director accused of fraud. His partners cut ties. His house went into foreclosure. And Sophie, well, she vanished before the first lawyer called. I heard he moved out of town, started doing odd jobs just to get by. And honestly, I didn't smile when I heard it. I didn't feel joy. Because revenge isn't supposed to feed you forever. It's supposed to set you free.
So you're free now?
Completely. I used to think freedom meant running away, but it's not. Freedom is staying, and knowing you're no longer afraid of the ghosts. Sometimes I still pass that old house when I'm driving. It's empty now, for sale. And when I see the 4 sale signs swaying in the wind, I don't feel sadness. I feel peace. That house used to hold everything I loved. Now it's just bricks and echoes. That's how you know you've healed, when your past becomes a place, not a prison.
If you could go back to that day, the day you saw her wearing your dress, would you do anything differently?
No, because every scar I carry now is a story I survived. That moment didn't destroy me. It introduced me to myself. I learned that love without respect is a cage, and silence, when used right, can be the loudest scream. I wouldn't change a thing, Blaze. He showed me who he was, and I showed him what happens when a woman finally stops begging to be understood.
And you believe in love again?
I believe in myself, and maybe one day, if love finds me, I'll let it in. But this time, I'll make sure it knows it's a privilege to stay. Sometimes I think about that red dress. It's still in my closet. I couldn't throw it away. It reminds me of the night my world ended and began again.
Mira, thank you for sharing that pain, that power. Stories like yours remind us that sometimes the most brutal wounds are the ones that make us strongest.
Pain doesn't last forever, Blaze, but what it teaches you, that stays.
And that's what Modern Wounds is all about, where heartbreak becomes strength and silence turns into power. Remember, every wound tells a story. What's yours?